Excellent. Right, and then I'll just pop off at 1:30.
Yeah, we're live.
Cool.
Just make sure it's muted. It is muted. All right, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our final day. This is day 4. This is our bonus session. This is all Q&A with myself and Nancy. As always, please jump into the comments, say hi and where you're tuning in from. If you are not muted, let me just hit the mute all real quick. Nancy, you can unmute yourself. Today is all Q&A, and we did have a few questions that were pre-submitted, so we do appreciate that. And we've already had close to 10 people actually sign up for BYOB Social. So we are so excited and so happy to welcome those individuals. And just to let everyone know, again, I just dropped the link. If you are ready to jump in, work smarter and not harder, be able to connect with Nancy and myself once a month on those group co-working sessions, utilize all the aspects of BYOB Social to help you produce your content, post your content. Again, the cart and doors open to BYOB Social for another 72 hours. This is the final time that we are opening the doors this year. We have not yet slated when we are opening them up in 2024 yet. So we do want you guys to act on this if you are ready. You can click that link, sign yourself up. It's only $49 a month, business write-off, number one. Number two, you can cancel at any time. So before we dive into the Q&A, drop into the chat, what was the biggest needle mover for you with what we've gone over? We got a lot of positive feedback. People were really blown away by the usability and the simplicity of BYOB Social, how Nancy went on there and pre-scheduled her content, used the AI tool to help kind of organize everything, the content ideas, the fact that the platform recommends the best times to post for social media, how it doesn't affect the engagement algorithm. Type into the chat, what were your biggest takeaways from the 3 days that we were together, outside of the content buckets, organizing everything. Melissa said the AI feature. And again, that is a brand new integration. And that's the great thing. The developers that we work with, we actually tell them what our audience, what our members are seeking and wanting. And guess what? They get on it, they develop it, and they implement it into the platform. So again, that's one of the brand new features that you guys get to utilize with BYOB Social. And again, outside of BYOB Social, whether you're using that, you should be using something at this point. I think where we are in the state of business, if you aren't using a content scheduler, you're just making it harder for yourself, because it's so nice to be able to sit down, for a 60-minute power session on a Sunday and just get everything scheduled out there. And then you can kick back and focus on the other things within your business. Georgia said the combination of coming up with ideas, creating the content, and automatically scheduling and posting. Yep. Stephanie wrote, it gave me such insight on how to organize a schedule and be creative. Using the workbook to set the outline and the topper, was learning about BYOB. However, I did not see the AI option. So the AI option is there. It's awesome. And just to let you guys know, within our business, the company that Nancy and I run, we do have a full-time copywriter on our team. She's actually here. Her name is Charlize. So if there's any copy questions, she's actually always happy to jump in. The bucket creation and posting themes. Yeah. So again, don't let this pass you by. I know it's one of those things where it's not like, a twisting of your arms, but literally, you have us in your back pocket. You have our support team in your back pocket. You have the private Facebook community in your back pocket. And we listen to all of you. And again, our mission, our company, the Time to Grow, we have multiple offerings. This is one of the main offerings because our goal is to help people not only work smarter and not harder, but become profitable, enjoy your business, have fun, and take the stress off of your plate so you can spend more time doing those things. And again, just remember the doors to BYOB Social do close at 9 p.m. EDT on Sunday, the same time as the replays that come down. Anyone that's a part of the posting platform, you have continued access to the replays. So you will be able to continue to dive into those as long as you are a member of the platform. So another perk and a benefit. So I just dropped the link in there. Again, if anyone missed it, you can jump on in, you can open it up, and obviously we would love to see you a part of it. So Nance, do you have anything to add in before I get to the questions?
Yeah. So I'll be jumping off at about 1:30, but Charlize and Scott will be on here to continue to answer questions. So if there's anything super specific for BYB Social, feel free to ask. I've got my screen open. Obviously, Scott can answer as well, but I'm here if there are any questions there. And then also for anyone who is joining and anyone who is already a current member, I am going to be doing the orientation next Tuesday. So it's going to be Tuesday, August 1st from 1 to 2. So we'll be doing a little session. It's just answering any questions at all, making sure that everybody's able to get your platform set up correctly. We walk you through how to do that, even though, we've got everything available in our help desk support, but we're there for you to make sure that you hit the ground running, and then you're able to use BYB Social and connect everything properly.
Yep. All right. So Beth had a couple questions. Number one, best days and times to post. Does it vary by platform? How do you know if the best days and or times change? So as this is kind of one of those questions that constantly comes up from people, like, when should I post? And I'll give you my opinion, then Nancy, if you want to chime in, you can. For me, it's a Monday through Friday thing. So I typically post all my content Monday through Friday. And I typically stick to the same time of day for everything, which is an initial post. If I'm posting once a day, it's always between 7 and 8 a.m. EDT. I like getting my content out first thing in the morning. So I do claim that early morning crowd, but also if the post shows during lunch and evening. For me, I like getting things done first thing in the morning. It's just a great way because, again, you want to kind of tap into when most people are going to be on social media. A lot of people jump on before they go to work, before they start their day. So for me, it's one of those things, get it out first thing in the morning. And, as far as how do you know if the best days and or times change? One of the best things to do is subscribe to some great blogs out there. Ad Espresso is a great blog that's out there that goes over that. Social Media Examiner is also a wonderful blog site that you can check out. And what Social Media Examiner does is it examines social media, gives updates on any changes to the platform that in regards to maybe posting or anything of that nature. So I would research that blog. Nance, anything to add?
Yeah, I would completely agree. I just did a search. In fact, best times to post on social media in 2023. You can pull up so many different articles, things like that, to kind of give you some guidance. There's one that I'm looking at, for example, from Sprout Social that kind of goes through the different platforms. But what I will tell you, in fact, I'm going to drop the link to that in the chat. But anyway, what I will tell you is also, if you are using BYOB Social, keep in mind that it actually, part of the autopilot feature, it will determine right when you have received the most engagement on a post, and it will make recommendations. So if you're using the autopilot feature, which again, we're going to kind of share a little bit more, it's also in the information on the help desk, but that actually tells you what the best times to schedule are. And you can hit a button and literally schedule all your posts across each different platform at those optimal times. And it's all tied to analytics and all that gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook. Okay.
Gobbledygook.
With BYOB, will we be able to post articles or blogs? So with LinkedIn articles, that is a sub tool of LinkedIn only. So there's really no way to do that outside of just writing a long form post up to 3,000 characters on LinkedIn. As far as blogs go, those are typically connected directly to a feed of a website, whether it be WordPress, or anything else. So as far as my knowledge goes, it is strictly for directly posting to social platforms. Nance?
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, now LinkedIn actually has the feature to pre-schedule your articles and newsletters. So if you guys didn't know that, and you were planning on scheduling articles or blogs on LinkedIn, you do have the ability to actually do that right from the platform, which is
Yep.
super, super cool. And that was like, I was like hoping and wishing for that. Now we just need it for polls, but
You
you
can't
are
do
able
can't,
to.
can't do polls. So
Yeah.
when you go to create and do your LinkedIn newsletter article, and you go to basically post it, there's a little clock on the bottom right, and it's basically, so you write your newsletter edition, and then basically what you're going to do is you would then go to publish it, but you'll see like a little clock on the bottom right, and you click that, and that's where you can pre-schedule it, and you can just pick the date and time. So what I typically do is I'll write 2 newsletter editions at a time, so I'm always 2 weeks ahead. So what you guys see posting tomorrow, I actually wrote 2 weeks ago. So I always try to stay ahead, so you can pre-schedule your newsletters right on LinkedIn. To stay visible, how many days do you recommend posting? Great question. Each platform is different. With LinkedIn, you really only have to post once a day, Monday through Friday, or at a minimum once a day, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Facebook's a little bit different. Instagram's a little bit different. Facebook, you can go up to 2 or 3 posts a day. Some people follow a strategy of doing morning, afternoon, early evening. Some people just do late morning and afternoon. Instagram, again, because it's such a very fast moving feed, some people will post 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. But again, there's different variables to that. There's posting into your feed. There's sharing to your Instagram story. There's doing Instagram reels, all of those nuances. I would say to cut through all of that, and this is just my opinion, Nancy, you can share yours. As long as you are posting a piece of content a day at a minimum, 3 days a week on the platforms. So 3 posts a week on Facebook, 3 posts a week on Instagram, 3 posts a week on LinkedIn, 3 TikToks a week, whatever you want to do. That is more than enough to stay visible. You can go up to 5 days a week. I typically do schedule my stuff Monday through Friday. Very rarely will something go up on the weekend. If it does, it's an organic post from me, just sharing some behind the scenes of the life that Nancy and I are living, and that's about it.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I mean, I talked about it day one, right? Pick a platform and pick the platform that you're really going to do all the things on, right? That's going to be your like leading platform. That's the one that you're going to be engaging on. You're going to be responding to every message. You're going to be connecting. You're going to be growing. You're going to be doing all the things. So each different platform is going to look a little different, right? So where Scott said, on LinkedIn, you can get away with posting 3 posts a week, right? High quality, good stuff. And then make those connections and engagements and be really good. Now, Instagram, right? That might look a little different. Now, if you're going to do all the bells and whistles and all the things on Instagram, it might look like this, right? You might be posting 1 post per day. You might be doing a story or 2, right? Each day, which is sharing stuff in your story. You could be doing at least 2 reels a week, right? So we're kind of like adding, right? Up all the things, but that's really if you want to maximize all the different features of the platform. Talking about Pinterest, in fact, I was joking with someone the other day. I mean, it's recommended in a lot of places to post 5 to 15 times per day on Pinterest, right? It's a search engine. You want to get your stuff out there. So posting, a similar thing across the thing, it's a search engine. So it's going to look a little different for each platform. But what I would definitely do is 1, pick that platform, and then do a little bit of research, right? Like we just mentioned, what days of the week are best to post on Instagram, and go ahead and put yourself a little weekly workflow. How many days a week, or what should I be posting on Instagram to grow my account? Write down all the different things that you can do and kind of come up with a framework there.
Next question. Is there any data yet on the value AI is bringing to social media, i.e., more engagement, more views, more comments. You know, I would say for some data, it may be hard to see and understand what is AI generated compared to what is not. You can't really tell anymore, because people, what they're doing is they're using AI. And then Nancy talked about this, it's called the sandwich effect, right? So AI becomes the bread, and then people are adding their own stuff in between. So it becomes almost like a hybrid of an AI generated post with that person's organic stuff mixed in with it. So it's really hard to tell. As far as like, is AI going to bring more engagement, more views? I mean, that is a big misnomer. I don't think anybody really is going to understand that. It's just like, you know, how can we beat the social media algorithms? You can't. They're always 10 to 15 years ahead. We're, you know, kind of just doing things. And the best advice that I can give anyone in regards to any of this is consistency always wins in the end. It's, again, you're going to have quality content, but as long as you are consistent. You know, I saw someone the other day that, you know, helps people with LinkedIn stuff. And I was just kind of checking out to kind of see what content they post in regards to what I post. And they hadn't posted for over a year, and on LinkedIn, which is a platform they help people with. So again, that could really hurt your business. So instead of focusing on all of the metrics and the vanity stuff that's out there, I would just say focus on being very, very consistent with your messaging and everything that you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Is there a content style that tends to do better, and should you change your content style at all? Nance?
Can you repeat that?
Is there a content style that tends to do better, and should you change your content style? So content style meaning, again, there's written content, there is video content, there is marketing research content like polls. So
Yeah.
Nance, what's your take on that?
Yeah, totally. So I would say, I mean, video is probably by far my favorite. And the reason why, right? You are you. Nothing else, no one else, you know, can be you. And whenever it comes to really building and growing your business, it's all about building, right, your community. It's about building that know, like, and trust. And for that purpose alone, you showing up on camera and telling stories and being real and being relatable. Like, just to give you an example, okay, I listened to a podcast episode this morning. Type a Y or a yes in the chat box if you guys have ever heard of Shailene Johnson. So Shailene Johnson, in fact, her and her son, Brock Johnson, have a podcast together. But the thing is I was listening to a podcast that she was doing with Amy Porterfield, and she was just being so raw and real. And she was just saying, yeah, this is how things are. Yeah, this is what, and I was like, I love her. You know, and immediately, like, after listening to her, I'm like, I just appreciate it. And that's one of the reasons why I love Amy Porterfield, because she is raw and real. She's like, guys, I just had a really bad launch. You know, let's talk about it. And she's just so relatable. That's how you can be when you show up in that way. So yes, you know, the written word is effective. Yes, you know, there's certain ways that you can absolutely do beautiful, wonderful content, and even using a picture with the, you know, content, but no one is you. And I love the fact that when people show up on video, I mean, just even giving Scott as the example, he pops on and he shares tips about LinkedIn, and he always kind of chimes in and adds his own spin on things. You know, he knows what he's talking about. You know, this is his zone of genius, and getting to see him real and knowing that he's not, you know, an AI or a robot, you know, just sharing the information, I think is really impactful. And that's why, again, I love that on BYOB Social, you can pre-schedule video as well. So I know we kept the workshop very simple, but I am so passionate about creating video and repurposing video and breaking video down, because video is so authentic. Video is you, right? You're showing up. And I think content wise, video will continue and is, right, the king or queen of content.
Yep. How often should we be doing videos, and is it okay to use the same post on multiple platforms? So my honest feeling is everyone should be doing at least one video a week, and you could pick a day to do it. It could be Mondays you do your videos, Wednesdays you do your videos, Fridays you do whatever. You should be doing at least one video a week. That could be a short, like an Instagram reel or, a TikTok. If you prefer short form engaging content, you can do longer form videos. If you wanted to do, a 4 to 6 minute video that you want to put up on the LinkedIn, you can do that. So my feeling is at least once a week. You'll see people do these challenges where they 30 videos in 30 days. It's just too much. Like anything that here's the thing, anything that can't be maintained is not worth doing. Anything that is not able to be maintained is not worth doing. So you'll see these challenges, right? Like, let's do 30 videos in 30 days. Well, after the 30 days, what are you going to do? But I think everyone could commit to doing one video a week. As far as, yes, Nancy? Or were you itching or did you?
No, it's okay. You can finish because you might even answer.
So the other thing is it okay to share the same post on multiple platforms? Two-part answer. Number one, if it's relatable to the audiences on the different platforms. So if your brand is what it is. So again, I share the same content, whether it be my Facebook group, my Instagram account, and LinkedIn, because what I teach on Facebook is LinkedIn. What I teach on Instagram is LinkedIn. What I teach on LinkedIn is LinkedIn. So if it's within your brand and the audience that you've built on those platforms, it is completely fine to have the same post on all platforms, because ideally, and this is why, ideally, you don't want the same connections on LinkedIn as the ones that you have on Instagram, as the ones that you have on Facebook. You want different networks on different platforms, meaning you don't want the same people that are connected to you in your Facebook group following you on Instagram and connected to you on LinkedIn. Now, you may have some overlap, but what makes social media great is that you can build 3 different networks where you can share the same message and there's no overlap, because you have to remember, people that are on specific platforms are spending time mostly on those platforms. So your LinkedIn connections primarily are spending their time on LinkedIn, just like Instagram and just like Facebook. Nance, what are your thoughts?
Yep. No, I agree with that.
Oh, wow. Nothing else. That is good. Okay. And let's see. So Jake asks, I'm not really on social media platform very regularly, so this is all new to me. When we start a new Facebook business page, how do we get people to see our posts? So when you're starting a new Facebook business page, which again, for those that are joining BYOB Social, for you to use the Instagram feature, you do need to have, whether it's using BYOB Social or not, you need to connect your Instagram account to a Facebook business page to cross post. That's what cross posting is called. We actually go over in our portal how to start a Facebook business page, enable you to do that. But second to that, the great thing when you start a Facebook business page, you can actually invite your friends that you're connected to on your personal page to like your Facebook business page. Facebook gives you that opportunity. Nancy?
Yeah, and I'm going to jump off in just a minute, but I'm going to be honest and raw and real to you guys right now.
No one sees your Facebook business page anyway.
When it comes to Facebook business page, you're going to get crickets. I don't care if you're Oprah. Okay. So Facebook actually wants you to pay. So actually run ads, things like that for people to see your Facebook business page content. So the reason why I love using the posting platform or any posting platform such as BYOB Social to post your Facebook business page, a lot of times where it really comes into play and having content there is when people search for your business, right? So if someone's typing in the search and they go to it, and, I'm just using Charlize as an example, right? It could be copywriting, by Charlize or, her business, they could come across it and they check it out. Right. So it's kind of like that curiosity, like what's going on here. So you're sharing that same content to this platform, but please know that you're not going to get a million likes or loves. In fact, if you do, oh my gosh, send me a message and tell me what the heck you did, right? Because I can guarantee it, right? Facebook is not showing your stuff to people. They don't want to do it until you give them a little bit of money, right? That's what they make their
And
money off of.
and don't do that. Don't
Yeah. No, you
don't
don't
do
need to, you don't need to do that. But keep in mind, right? If we are connecting and engaging on Facebook and you guys are listing your Facebook business page on your personal page, when you guys are engaging in groups and things like that, it almost acts as a funnel, right? People get
Yep.
curious. Oh, what's Melissa up to? Click on your business page, they go follow it. And then, you could have some call to actions, your website. Your Facebook business page is basically your brick and mortar business where you get to hang your sign and say, here's hours of operation, right? It's a place where you can put all that information and showcase it. But I promise you, Facebook is not going to be pushing it out on anyone's newsfeed anytime soon.
Nance, another great question that came up that I wanted to go to before you pop off is, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about using BYOB Social for their businesses. Can it be used for personal posting as well? Meaning, if someone doesn't have a business yet, or they just want to kind of post their personal stuff using BYOB Social, can that be done?
Yeah. So a great example of that. So you can connect. So, right, you can't post to your Facebook personal page, but you can connect a business page. So if you don't currently have a business or you're not really sure, what direction you want to go in, you could create a business page with your name. In fact, Scott Aaron, right, public figure, and he posts to that page. And then obviously sometimes he'll share some stuff to his personal. That's one way to do it. The other thing too, if you're going to be growing on, let's say, TikTok, or you're growing on Instagram, or you're going to grow on, any of the other platforms, Pinterest, Twitter, you just want people to kind of follow you and tune in or whatever. Maybe start doing like a weekly video to just kind of share something that's going on. Awesome, right? You can absolutely do that. And you don't necessarily need a business in order to do that. So as long as you can connect the platform, you can absolutely use it for that purpose.
Yep. And the great thing is, because you're able to connect up to 7 platforms, if you're using it more from a personal standpoint and then a business standpoint later, you can always disconnect the personal stuff and connect the business stuff. So it's very interchangeable. How do we get new followers on social media? Again, that is one of those things that is a slow build that takes time. And I'll go back to something that I said earlier. It's about being consistent with what you're doing, being visible on social media where people do want to follow you. How quickly can a following build? Again, that's also one of those misnomer type questions, because people can easily go and buy followers on Instagram, which people, yes, Nance?
Well, yeah. So because I got to jump off in just 2 minutes. So what I'll say is it varies by platform, right? There's different things that you can do, and it's either going to take time or it's going to take money. Right. We can do all kinds of marketing things to grow, our audience, so on and so forth. You guys could do like a huge workshop and run Facebook ads, and it could, obviously grow your following in that way. You could do a viral video like on Instagram Reels, in fact, and grow your following by thousands. Okay. It's actually happened. It's not very common, but it's happened. TikTok is another one of those ones where I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who are like, oh my God, I have like tens of thousands of, but again, our main goal is we want to equate that to also business success, right? So just because you have 100,000 followers on TikTok, are they people who are actually tuning into your business? Are those people who are going to turn into leads, so on and so forth? But there are different tactics, obviously, to build a following, which again is going to be more specific to each individual platform. But like Scott said, it's either going to take time, right, to build that over time, or it's going to take some money.
Yep. So Nance, I know you got to jump off, but I pinned Charlize up here so she can spend some time with me to help answer some more questions. So the next question is, I believe I've heard that you need to include keywords in your posts. How do you determine the best keywords to use? Again, when we talk about keywords or SEO, search engine optimization, you're wanting to use keywords that not only people would be searching for, but that your target audience would typically engage with. So when we talk about ideal clients, all those things. You need to make sure that you're using keywords such as, lead generation, marketing, client acquisition, social media, whatever your zones of genius are. There are, keywords are also buzzwords, meaning words that really depict and describe what it is that you do and how you serve and help people. And those are the types of keywords that you should be including in your content. And only you know what those keywords are. We can't tell you what they are. So if you know your target demographic, if you know your target clients, you'll know what keywords that you want to share. Charlize, anything to add?
Yes, Scott, that was a perfect answer. And I'd love to add that there's a simple way to find some keywords. A lot of times there's a sweet spot. I should step back. There's a sweet spot between what you're teaching them and a word that they've never heard before, and words that are buzzwords that are overused. So, find a word that, like you were saying, client acquisition. People are going to constantly be using that. But if there's a buzzword, like we've heard so many buzzwords, I can't even say them out loud anymore, but people are going to say these same words over and over. They lack meaning. So don't use those. Find that sweet spot. And one way to find it is just go into Google and start typing in those words and see what comes up. And the ones that populate at the top, or in Instagram or anywhere that your favorite social media, if you type in search, those words will start to pop up and you'll see how well they're followed, if they're used, and kind of gauge from there. And my advice is, if you're doing like a keyword search, maybe don't pick the most popular one, but also don't pick the least popular one. Find a sweet spot in the middle.
Yep. Awesome. Next question. Do you guys assist with reviewing the content creation? So the short answer is yes. Not on an individual basis, but part of the membership that you get with BYOB Social is you do meet with us once a month, whether it be myself and Nancy alone, or Nancy and Charlize. We do a co-working session once a month. It's the first Tuesday or the second Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. EDT. It's live and recorded and streamed in the private Facebook group. And again, we have some current members on here now. So they'll tell you that if there's a question that someone has, you want content ideas or a review, that is what those monthly sessions with the membership are for. Does your platform handle video? Yes. There are specific parameters of video. So we do have a portal that kind of goes over the specific video requirements to post to Facebook, to post to Instagram, to post to TikTok, and to post to LinkedIn. So you can do video across those platforms. And the backup question was that, can you do YouTube? No. We've actually asked the developers if they're going to be working on a YouTube aspect of it. And whether it be full-length YouTube videos or YouTube Shorts, which also is a variation of Instagram Reels and TikToks. And as we get more information, obviously, we can share that. What do you do for Twitter? As I believe it's a very, very short limit in terms of words allowed and video length. Yes, you are allowed 200 characters for posts on Twitter. That is more for short, I would say short-term posts, or if you're looking to direct people to a link, maybe you want to share a LinkedIn article that you wrote, you want to share a YouTube video that you did. That's what a quick tweet would be for. And does your platform, does the platform have different demographics? So within the platform of BYOB Social, when you start creating content and posting it out there, yes, it will kind of give you some...
out for a reason. You want me to put it back, or
hold on for a second.
Yeah, no.
All right, Charlize, you can mute yourself now. Just guys, if you're jumping on late, just make sure that you're muted out. So in regards to the demographic aspect, yes, when you start to post your content, it'll start to recommend days, times, but also it'll give you specific insights. So the amount of engagements, the specific numbers as far as what has grown, what has not. So all of that can be seen within the dashboard of BYOB Social as part of the Insights feature. How do we determine the best platforms to optimize for? So again, this is going to be best determined by the business owner. So I believe in being omnipresent, which means being across all platforms. So if someone was to do a Google search for Scott Aaron LinkedIn, guess what? They would see my Instagram handle. They would see my TikTok channel. They would see my YouTube. They would see my LinkedIn. They would see my Facebook. So you do need a specific platform to lead with. So wherever your ideal client or target market is spending time on, obviously that is the one that you want to lead with as far as engagement, nurturing, connection building. But that doesn't mean that you can't support and be omnipresent on the other platforms. So I do believe in a tool like BYOB Social, it's very beneficial because it allows you to be everywhere at once in little to no time. Charlize, anything to add?
No, I agree. For, again, SEO purposes, getting more networking out there, you want to be visible, but who has the time to post on every freaking place? So with a platform like BYOB Social, it posts everywhere, but also you guys haven't talked yet about that chat feature that's in there. So you have one space where you can actually chat with multiple places in the DMs. So no longer are those days of going in and like, okay, and now I've got to open Instagram, put a timer. I'm going to spend only a half hour here because it takes an hour. And then I'm going to do LinkedIn, and then I'm going to do, no, now you're going to be able to do that all in one spot, because engagement is also key. Consistency with engagement matters with your networking. So there's an easy way to do that here too.
Yep. Next question. Is there a problem with posting the same post in the main feed of LinkedIn and in a group? Well, I don't think that relates to BYOB Social, but I always tell people if they are going to post on LinkedIn, whether it's organically or using BYOB Social, you always want to post from your personal profile to the main feed of LinkedIn. And then within LinkedIn, if you want to reshare that to a company page that you have or a group that you're in, you can do it that way. What is a reasonable amount of time to wait before reposting something? You know, as far as, and again, this is in regards to BYOB Social, because when you start to get your weekly, monthly, and quarterly insights, you get reporting from BYOB Social. It will actually show you and rank your most engaged and most high volume posts that you can then repost at a later time. As far as time frame of when to repost, and this is just my honest feeling, and Charlize, you can share your feelings on this, because there is so many millions and millions of pieces of content going out there. I would say, you know, if someone was to repost something 2 weeks after the original post, which I've done, it's going to be seen as a brand new post. Long and the short, I don't think there is a specific direct amount of time when you should or shouldn't. I would say don't do it 2 days in a row. Give it at least maybe a week or two to breathe. And if it got really good engagement, you can repost that. I sometimes do that with my LinkedIn polls. If I did a poll question that was really a hot button and it got great market research results, I'm going to wait a couple weeks and I'm going to do it again. Charlize, anything to add on that?
That's the perfect answer. In fact, when you're getting engagement on a certain post, you know, repost it monthly. Why not? Put it in and redo it every month until it stops getting any traction, and then go back to your next one. Save yourself time. And because of the way things are posted in certain places, they're no longer timeline feeds. It's just going to go out there and grab a new group of people.
And to Charlize's point, with BYOB Social, there's an autopilot feature where you can actually, if there's a high engaging post that you want to have reshared, you can actually set it to repost the first Monday of every month ongoing. So if you want to have that same post going out the first Monday of every month because it's been getting consistent engagement, you can set that up through BYOB Social that way. Do you have any sample posts for longer posts that show headings, spacing, and a good format that works? I mean, I think that can be Googled, but I always tell people that if there's someone that you're following on social media and you do enjoy the structure of how they have their posts, you can mimic that. But also with the AI feature within BYOB Social, which you guys saw the AI generator yesterday, it actually spaces it out beautifully. It takes a couple sentences, it double spaces, it's very clear and legible, comes up with a headline that you can obviously edit yourself. So making sure that it's legible, it's not all in one straight line, making sure there's double spacing in between, much like the AI generator showed us yesterday, that would be appropriate. Are the hashtags that you include in a posting visible to others? Yes. So especially when you're using the AI tool within BYOB Social, again, you can choose the tone of voice, but you can also add hashtags and emojis. So again, it's going to use specific hashtags that are SEO optimized with the information that you inputted in there. So basically, if you inputted into the AI generator within BYOB Social, the main benefits of acquiring consistent clients. It's going to then spit out some AI generated information. You can plug your own stuff into it, and then it's going to have specific SEO optimized hashtags that directly relate to the content that was produced. When I have a post that will appeal to many audiences, is there a limit to the number of hashtags that I include? So this is another good question, because there was a back in the day, there was a theory on Instagram that you had to do 10 hashtags in the post and then 10 hashtags in the first comment. That has been thrown out the window. From what I have read and what is suggested, and what Nancy and I always suggest, is 2 to 3 hashtags that's directly related to your content across all platforms: TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Do you have a list of words that motivate readers and create engagement? Again, I think this is also something that can be Googled. And this is the dynamic thing about social media and our businesses. Every single one of us has different networks, different connections, and different things that engage our audiences. So again, we believe in split testing, meaning trying one thing one way for 30 to 60 days, trying another way 30 to 60 days, and really seeing what comes back and produces desired results. What are the things that we can avoid when posting? The number one thing that I tell people to avoid when posting, well, I won't say number one. I'm going to say a few things. Number one, anything that is polarizing. So any hot button. So anything that upsets people. So if you can think about the things that upset people, the pandemic upset people, government upsets people, anything of that nature, you kind of want to stay away from, because anything that draws in negativity is going to bring certain people towards you, and it's going to push other people away. So I always tell people, stay right in that middle area, keep things very black and white, very positive. You want to be seen as a person of value. You don't want to actually put yourself into a corner of being a polarizing type of person. The other thing that you want to stay away from is being negative on social media. I'm not a big believer in airing one's dirty laundry. There's a lot of things that our family has been going through, both myself and Nancy, and I know Charlize, could share some things as well, but we do it in the privacy of ourselves. I don't, as much as I appreciate people's support, I don't need to invite all of that in. There are some things that do need to remain private, so I kind of stay away from doing that kind of stuff. And the third thing I would say is selling and pitching straight up and down on social media. No one ever likes to be sold and pitched to. And the one thing that I remind people is, how would you feel if someone sold and pitched you in the onset of wanting to be a connection with them? Doesn't feel good. No one wants to be sold and pitched to, so why would you do it to someone else? Charlize, anything to add to that?
No, you covered that perfectly.
Okay. How effective is posting a several line summary of published articles or web page and including a link? So depending upon, and again, you can add these links directly through BYOB Social, whether you want to mention a website, a Pinterest, whatever you want to draw people to. What I will say is any external link that is attached to a post that it's an outside network. So Facebook promoting to a LinkedIn, LinkedIn promoting to this. All of the social media platforms are the same. They want people staying on that platform. They don't want people being redirected to another social media site. So if you're going to do that, which is completely fine, you can add a link to anything that you want in any post that you want through BYOB Social, but just know it's not the posting platform that's not pushing it out the right way. It's actually that social media platform that you're posting to. They want people staying on that platform, not being redirected somewhere else. How important is it to have a photo or illustrations included in posts? I think very important. I always tell people that not only do people want to put a name to the words, they want to put a face to the words of what's being posted. So whether you're using a stock image, a quote tile, or a picture that's branded to you, very important for people to be able to connect the dots of what is written to what is seen. How important are reposts from other users? You know, I appreciate when people reshare my content on social media. It's a great way to say thank you and to nurture them in that respect. I don't think it's one of those things that is an absolute necessity to do. I'm a big believer in, if I'm going to reshare someone else's content, I am going to add my own view, my own point, my own value to it, not just hitting reshare. And that's a way that you can obviously bring an external audience into it. So it's something that you can do. Now we do have about 10 or so minutes left. I'm going to go. I know there were a couple questions that came up in the chat. Hold on. Let's see. Explain the difference on LinkedIn between impressions, views, and minutes if views under the analytics section. So in analytics, and this is obviously, you can see this within BYOB Social as well. Impressions are basically the amount of times that a specific post was shown into a feed of the platform, number one. Views, obviously, within the impressions, how many views came from those impressions of how many times it was shown within that platform. And minutes viewed, if it was a video that you're posting on any social media platform, you may be able to get demographics and analytics that say this is the total amount of views combined with the impressions, the views, and that totaled a certain amount of minutes. Let me see if there's any other questions. All right, so we have about 10 minutes left. So now we can open it up to the room. If there's any additional questions, you can either drop your question in the chat, or you can actually just click the reaction button and raise your virtual hand. And then I can call on you guys for any questions that you have. And just remember, I'm going to drop the link for BYOB Social. Again, just remember, the replays and the doors to BYOB Social do close in 72 hours. And again, this is not just a posting platform. It's not just a membership. It's a community. You have access to myself, Charlize, Nancy, our whole community on Facebook, a whole support team behind there, but also the developers of this platform. So again, it becomes much more than just scheduling your content. It becomes an all-in-one for the things that you need it for. And obviously, we want to bring that back to all of you. Melissa, you had a question.
There you go. Yeah, I sent it to you. Apparently it didn't come through. So I have two questions actually. One is, can you talk a little bit about the differences between like feed and stories in Facebook and Instagram, and like what types of content are better to post to each? And then the second question was like, if this is about building your personal brand, can you mix like business and personal content in your posting, like, you know, especially with Facebook?
Yeah, well, the second question, very quick answer. Yes, you can absolutely do a mixture of both personal and business. That's what actually people want. You don't want it to be all one way and all the other way. I see too many people that post too much about their business and not enough about their life. I see too many people posting too much about their life and not much about their business, because how are people supposed to know what it is that you do if you can't tell them what you do? So you do need to do a mixture of both. As far as feed versus stories, stories are more for short form people that are just kind of sliding through. People use them in different ways. They use stories to take people through their day, which I don't do because I am not on social media that often as far as showing every aspect. Here's what I had for breakfast. Here's what I had for lunch. I'm walking down the street now. I'm waving hi to my neighbor. I don't do that kind of stuff. I use the stories more for resharing maybe a quote post that I did, a clip of maybe a YouTube video that I have with directing people to that. And then the feed is whatever I want my feed to be. So it could be the theme of what Nancy talked about. It could be a motivation. It could be a business type post. It could be an announcement type post, a testimonial type thing. So people can use them in direct correlation or completely separate. It's really what the person wants to do.
Because I've heard that, if you want to actually like try and sell and pitch stuff, that stories tend to be a better place to do that, and your feed wants to be more specifically content.
Yeah, I mean, you never really want to sell in a story. So if you're going to do anything, it's maybe directing people to something where they can be nurtured into something else. So if, Nancy and I are doing a workshop, we would share that workshop link within our story to get people to register for it, where they can end up in something like this, where if they saw value in what we were offering, they would then buy. Just outright pitching or selling something in a Facebook story, you're not going to get many sales that way. There are multiple touch points that someone needs. And one of the best ways is to direct them into something. Start listening to my podcast, click this link, check my website, click this link, go to our workshop, click this link. That would be my best suggestion for that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Someone said, I signed up for BYOB, but in the create section, I do not see the AI button nor the drop down for the emoji. Yep. So we are going to be going over the whole. So for anyone that has signed up that has any questions in regards to the platform itself, we are doing the onboarding call next Tuesday at 1 p.m. EDT. There's going to be email reminders sent out for that. And that is where we're going to show people where everything is, answer any questions, so people know exactly what to do. The AI feature is somewhat new. It is there. But again, that will also be shown in the onboarding call. But we also have a support email. It's support at BYOBsocialposting.com. So you can always submit an email to that support email if there's any questions. But anything regard to BYOB Social, for those that have signed up or are current members, that is what the onboarding call is going to be for next week. Do we need to know WordPress at all? Will the pre-created graphics and graphics edited? Yeah. So Georgia asked, do we need to know WordPress at all? No, you don't. Will the pre-created graphics and graphics editor let us do it all? Yes. So you can use pre-templated graphics that are within BYOB Social itself, or you can actually create your own. You can create your own font. You can use certain pictures that you want to use. So you can have as much fun as you want with it. And Charlie's just put anybody that has questions in regards to obviously being a member, you're a current member of BYOB Social and you have questions about anything, support at BYOBsocialposting.com. And again, you can ask any other questions that you have on the onboarding call next week. So we do have about 5 minutes left. Does anybody have any other questions? And just remember, we do have 2 homework winners to announce at the end of today's session, as well as remember the replays will be available until Sunday at 9 p.m. EDT. And that is also when the doors to BYOB Social do close. So again, one of the best questions that we got, do some people use BYOB Social for personal use, not professional use. Yes, we have a lot of people that use BYOB Social for just personal posting. They just want to be able to kind of get that stuff scheduled, and then they can do smatterings of business stuff. So just if you're not even really sure about using it for a business purpose yet, there's still a purpose and a benefit to using BYOB Social. Any last questions? Going once, going twice. Okay. So let me just announce the last two winners. Nancy will be contacting everyone as far as claiming your prize. The two last winners are HR Frazier and Deb Monfett. So congratulations to the final two winners. Again, we just want to thank all of you for being a part of this week's training. We do hope that you found this very value added and helpful. And we do hope that this left you in a better place, whether you do or do not decide to join our BYOB Social family, which we hope you do. This is a thriving platform that is helping many, many people. We have endless testimonials of how this has really helped people expand their business, give themselves some time back. And again, the great thing about BYOB Social is not only does it help you with the time that you want to get back, but if you're unclear and unsure of what you should post, we have all these, the AI generator, the content creation tool, all of those things that are holding people back from being consistent on social media. We have the answers for it. So from myself, Charlize, and Nancy, love and gratitude to all of you. We hope you enjoyed this entire week. Thank you for showing up to the Q&A, and we do hope to see you on the inside of BYOB Social. And remember, for those that have joined, remember, you're going to be getting an onboarding email, and we'll be seeing everyone, current members and new members, on the onboarding call next Tuesday, 1 p.m. EDT.